Good morning and happy Tuesday. Welcome back to Make It Personal. I am Pastor Terrell. I do hope you tuned in yesterday. We're talking about God. I mean, really, what else is there? But I want to teach you a little bit about the name of God. And if you didn't watch yesterday, I do encourage you to, on this channel, go back to yesterday and watch that. Excuse me. So, you might have heard different names of God. The name like Jehovah or the name Yahweh, and people ask, well, which is the true name of God? So what's important to realize is that ancient Hebrew was not a written language. It was a spoken language. So when it was written down, there was differences. And I tell you, the closest, and I say this, the closest ancient Hebrew name of God was Yovah. This was the closest that scholars can say they would have spoken as the true name of God. And when they wrote it down, ancient Hebrew didn't have vowels in it because the consonant sounds themselves had a vowel sound to them. So when they wrote down the name Yovah, in English it looked like YHWH, and that was pronounced Yovah. So later on, between the 500 and 900 AD, they modernized the Hebrew language and they added vowel sounds. So in the written language, Yovah, YHWH, became the word Yahweh. They added the A and they added the E. So Yovah, YHWH, became Yahweh in the written language. In the spoken language, the name became Jehovah. So whether you're saying Jehovah or Yahweh, they're both from the same original Hebrew name, Yovah. And when they prayed to God, they prayed to God for very specific needs because they had been trained to pray to a specific God in Egypt for a specific need. If you needed rain, you prayed to one God. If you needed food, you prayed to another God. If you needed a good harvest, you prayed to this God. But God was saying, listen, I am the only God you need. So they began to pray to God for specific needs. And God said to them, whatever you need me to be, I will be. So they named him a very specific thing depending on what they're praying for. For example, Jehovah Jireh means, God is my provider, but it actually means God is provision. Jehovah Rapha, meaning healing. It means God is healing. God isn't saying, I will give you provision, I will give you healing. He's saying, come to me because I am provision, I am healing. So the Israelites prayed for salvation from Egypt. God didn't just deliver them and say, pick you up, put you over here. God became their salvation. Do you see the difference in that? He didn't just go, poof, now you're in the promised land. But he also he didn't just deliver their bodies. He delivered their souls. He delivered their mind. Because as the plagues were happening, you might not realize this, each one of the 10 plagues was a direct attack on one specific Egyptian god. I used to know the names, so I'm not going to, but there was an Egyptian god who looked like a frog, and that would have been the plague of frogs. There was an Egyptian god who would look like a locust, and that would have been the plague of locusts. The darkness that fell over Israel, that was a direct attack on Egypt's most powerful god, Ra. God is saying, pray to your God, see if he can deliver you from this darkness. See, God needed to prove to the Israelites that he was more powerful than all these gods they've been forced to worship for 400 years. They had no idea the power of our God. So God delivered them by showing them he's far more powerful than anything they've ever seen before. God is what we need. God is when we need it, and God is how we need it, and God is where we need God. That's power. That's power you can't buy. That's power you can't mimic. God. God bless.